Hey, what's up everyone, welcome back to another small video on my channel. So today we're building a small witch hut. So as you can see, this video is a stop motion and not a speed build, which has two main reasons. So first of all, I asked you guys if you prefer speed builds or stop motions, and the majority of you guys actually said speed builds. However, there were some people who asked if I could do the occasional stop motion video because they prefer them, and that's why I'm going to do a stop motion from time to time as well. And the second reason is that I just didn't record while building this, so there is no footage. So there's actually a third reason for stop motion videos, which is that some of my larger builds would probably take 40 minutes or more if they were a speed build video, and if I made it any faster, you guys will probably get nauseous. So I hope those of you who prefer the speed build videos are not too upset that this one here is a stop motion. So let me tell you guys a bit more about this build here. As I said, this is a witch hut. It's actually a real micro home, meaning it has only 32 tiles usable space in total, even though it looks a bit bigger than that in my opinion. So this didn't actually start out as a witch hut. I originally planned on building a small micro castle with only 32 tiles in total, which was in my opinion a bit too small for a castle, because you need some kind of tower or even two towers to make it look like a castle. And by the time I had put down the general shape of the castle, I thought this looks more like some kind of strange crooked hut, and so I decided to go for witch house instead, which I have never built before, so I thought this would be a good idea. So I didn't restrict myself to any packs this time because I wanted to use everything I have to build this. So if you want to download it, be aware that it uses a lot of packs. So as you can see, I wanted to make this look interesting and colorful, so that's also the reason why I used so many different types of wallpapers, wooden siding, stone bricks, and also different kinds of roofs, different colors for the shingles, and also a lot of different roof and wall decorations. So the main reason for the house being on this small hill or boulder is, as I said, that I wanted to build a castle, and I really liked the location, so I decided to keep the house on the hill. So the build process itself was a bit strange because I started building on a 20 by 15 lot, which is I think the smallest lot in Hanford-on-Bagley. I then moved to a bigger lot, which was the 30 by 20. Also in Hanford-on-Bagley, that I like using a lot because it has very nice lighting and also a lot of trees and basically a forest around. So if you plan on downloading this, I put the lot in the description as well if you plan on putting it here as well. So the main reason for moving to a larger lot was not really that I needed more space, but rather that I didn't like the surroundings of the smaller lot because it's in the middle of the village, which I didn't like for this build because I have all those plants and trees around it, and in my opinion it makes more sense to have it on this lot here because there is the forest in the back and there's less of a harsh transition between the build and the actual surrounding. You can actually kind of see where the original borders of the smaller lot were because I added those fences you can see here at the edges of the smaller lot. So of course, since there was more space around the house, I also had to add more plants and more trees, but I also wanted to create some more interesting areas. So I also added a well on the left hand side and a small gardening area on the right hand side. So since this is more of an occult build, I didn't have to pay that much attention to realism just because it's not really necessary for a witch house to be realistic, so I could just use whatever objects I liked. And here you can see the small gardening area I was talking about earlier, and you probably noticed that I put the wooden flooring on the ground here, and the reason for that is that if I added another platform here, the house wouldn't qualify as a micro home anymore because this would add like 30 additional tiles, as you can see. And so I decided to put it on the ground and use some wood planks to create a frame around it just to give it a bit more structure and detail. Moving on to the interior, as you can see, this build is very small. We have only 32 tiles in total, of which 30 are actually usable space because 2 tiles are in the front, which are just the entrance area. So as you can see, I used a lot of clutter, especially objects from Realm of Magic and paranormal stuff, which offer a variety of very nice objects for occult builds like this one. So even though this space is pretty small, I added this fortune telling area here with 4 chairs, even though there was basically no space in the kitchen, but it kind of worked out, so I kept it. So this is the bedroom. There's not really much space here, and I think you won't be able to fit another bed in here. So this house is basically built for one witch or one regular sim, depending on what you want to play. So I didn't add too much clutter just because I wanted to keep it simple and functional. So if you made it this far into the video, I want to say thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully see you next time. Peace out. Hey, what's up everyone, welcome back to another Sims 4 video on this channel. Today we're building one of your suggestions, which was the goth tiny house. As you can see, today's video is a stop motion, but now let me tell you guys a bit more about the build itself. So as I said before, this is a tiny house, so it doesn't take up more than 64 tiles. So you get all the perks from the tiny living expansion if you have that. The build is intended for 2 sims, so we have a double bed in there. I initially wanted to do a speed build, but figuring out the interior layout was kind of complicated and took a while, so I decided to go for a stop motion instead. And this way the video is not like 40 minutes long. So this time I also didn't do the landscaping and exterior first, but I built basically the first floor, did the interior, moved on to the second floor, did the interior, finished the rooftop patio and the tower, then moved on to the landscaping. If you want to see any particular part of this build, there are timestamps in the description, and of course I will showcase the finished build at the end of the video. Moving on to the interior, as you can see, this is the entrance slash living room slash kitchen area, which is a weird thing to have in a house like this, because I feel like open kitchen areas are not really common in older houses, but since this house is so small, there was basically no way around it, and I personally like how it looks. I didn't want to make this build too dark, so I decided to go with darker wood tones, but also lots of green and some other colors, for example some shades of blue, which you will see later on. But I also included some white elements, as you can see here with the kitchen counters. The kitchen is actually quite small and I initially didn't want to have it here, but I needed to save some space for the dining area, so we also have a built-in fridge right underneath the staircase. I mean, you can always use ladders to save some space, but I feel like an older house like this would have a staircase. And to be honest, I don't know a lot of people who have ladders in their homes like at all. Maybe to reach the attic or the rooftop patio like I did with this build. So as I said before, I used a little bit of blue for the curtains here, but also for the couch. It's not a whole lot, just a little bit. I wasn't too sure about the blue at first, but I kept it because I think it looks quite nice. And with the first floor finish, we're moving on to the second floor. And as you can see, the roofing here is quite complicated. I decided to go for some kind of mint green roofing, because as I said before, I didn't want this build to be too dark, and we also have a lot of black elements here as a contrast. And this house is actually my second draft, so I built a very similar one beforehand, and it was way too dark. We had black walls, we had black pillars, black windows, black roofing, and it was just a bit boring, so I decided to go for some lighter tones with the gray here and simply used all the black elements here into green ivy as contrast colors. So I'm quite pleased how this turned out, and I hope you guys can see that I tried to make this house as unique as possible. And to be honest, I spent way too much time on this house, especially since it's just a tiny home. I think this is a 20 by 15 lot, so it probably shouldn't take that long, but I wanted the house to be as good as it could be, and I hope this is noticeable. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this already, but this house was a suggestion for a Halloween build, and I thought about who would live here, and I came to the conclusion that it should probably be some kind of vampire journalist, because we have the typewriter here. Also, it was Halloween, so I was looking for some occult creature, and I feel like the house is a bit too sophisticated for a werewolf, but you could also argue for a spellcaster. But to be honest, this house doesn't really feel or look like it was built for Halloween, so I decided to still upload it because it feels more like a fall build to me, and I think you can use this for basically any sim anywhere. So moving on to the bedroom area. As I said before, this house is intended for 2 sims, so we have of course a double bed. Your sims will have to scoot over, but it's fully functional. So the door you see here in the back leads to the bathroom, and what's kind of funny is that I forgot about the bathroom, and as I tried to figure out how to fill these nooks here and fill this area up, I noticed that I had no bathroom, and I simply separated this area here from the bedroom, which was also kind of necessary because it looked really odd. And then I had just enough space for a toilet, a sink and a shower, and I really wish there would be enough space for a bathtub, because with older houses like this, I feel like bathtubs are more fitting, but that's just my personal taste, of course. So as I said before, we also have a rooftop patio area here. There's not a lot of space, but I managed to include some skill building items, for example the chess table, a telescope and also a small bench for your sims to sit on. Your sims can reach this area by using a ladder inside this tower-like structure here, and this time I wanted to use the ladder because there was also no other way to get up here. I played around with some outdoor staircases, but it looked kind of odd and unrealistic. I also didn't want to waste like 8 tiles for the staircase being functional, and this build is actually not that big at all. I managed to break it down to 64 tiles as I said before, but I think it's almost impossible to build a house like this with only 32 tiles, because you need so many tiles for the small towers and the nooks, which make this house look interesting, that there isn't really a lot of space inside, because the house is basically full of nooks and crannies, and these are really hard to furnish sometimes, especially if you want to have a double bed or use some larger furniture. For example, the couch here. I also made my own life harder by adding all those windows first, so I had to basically furnish around them, which is always a pain, so I wouldn't recommend doing that. Actually, if you're not making videos for YouTube and just building for fun or anything, I would recommend starting with the interior and build the exterior last, so you can add the windows later on. I know it's kind of hard. I also jump around between exterior and interior usually, which you see in my speed builds as well. But windows and doors are always a problem if you place them first. So as you can see, we moved on to the landscaping portion of this video. I made it a bit faster so I could include everything here, which is not really a problem with this stop motion, but I sometimes go a little overboard and my landscaping can get quite excessive, so I usually cut out the parts that are less important, like adjusting the terrain paint or placing like 500 bushes as a base layer for the rest of the plants. This time I thought it would be fitting to go with darker plants mostly, and I also used some white and royal purple flowers, which I think look very nice here. So if you guys want to download this house to play with it or just look at it or whatever, it's of course in the gallery. My ID is in the description below as always. If you want to place it on the same lot, it's called Little Falls Nook. I think it's a 20 by 20. It's also in the description below. Price is exactly 100k, so I wouldn't say this is too expensive. Also to the pond here, which is a debug object or life edit object you can use to fish, which is not functional here because I used so many plants around it to blend it in that there's basically no way to access it. I would still consider this build fully functional because the pond is not really a necessity and only a part of landscaping in my opinion. And with that, we're at the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave a like, consider subscribing if you're new to the channel, leave a comment if you want to tell me anything or have any questions. I always appreciate feedback. And now let's take a look at the finished build. See you guys next time. Peace out. Hey guys, Luke here. Welcome back to another Sims 4 video on my channel. So today we're building the tiny overgrown forest hut, which was a clear win of a poll I did a few days ago. And you guys said you wanted to see this build here next, and so I finished it. It was basically done. I think it was even play tested, but just to be sure I play tested it again. And it's of course on the gallery if you want to download it. So this house is very small, as you guys can see. It's a hut. I called it a hut. It's just for one sim, and it also uses only one pack. So if you guys want to download this, it's the Werewolves expansion, which I like to use a lot, especially for builds like this one here. There's just so many cool plants included, and also this roof pattern here, which I like to use a lot, especially for abandoned looking builds, but also some like this one here, which are in a very, I would say, moist environment. We have a pond here, which you will see in a second, and I tried to merge the landscaping here with the environment because I built this in Copperdale, as you're probably aware. This is my favorite lot there. It's called Little Falls Nook. It's a 20 by 20, so if you guys want to place it in the same lot, it's also in the description below. So as I said before, I only used the Werewolf expansion and none of the objects from the high school expansion pack, which Copperdale comes with. So Copperdale is included in this pack, not in the Werewolves pack. But I wanted to build here because I don't like the world that comes with Werewolves, which is Moonwood Mill. And the reason for that is very dark. I can't see very well there, and I feel like the world is also very boring. I talked about the whole issue I have with the Moonwood Mill in a different video, but just to sum it up, it's dark, it's boring, it's generic, and I personally don't like it. The pack included some nice objects though, which was also the reason why I wanted to build with it, especially for builds like this one, of course, which also looks like a werewolf could live here in my opinion. So just a quick tip, if you're new to landscaping and find it hard to landscape in a way that the lot fits the environment, you can always use the plants and landscaping objects from the same pack the world comes with, because this way it's much easier to blend the lot with the environment, and I find it very helpful. I heard that from somebody, I can't remember, I think it was just a short video, but I found it very helpful, and I was like, why did I never think about that? So I want to give you guys this tip, credit to, I don't know, I can't remember, I'm sorry. This tip is so basic and yet so useful, so I hope you guys can use it for your own builds. But I think it became less of an issue with newer packs like Werewolves and High School, because the different shades of green kind of match each other now, at least some of the plants, which we didn't always have. There are some packs, I don't know which exactly, but I think it's Seasons. I don't know, Seasons is always in my head, but I think the plants from Seasons have a very specific shade of green. It's a lighter one. Some of them even look a bit yellowish, which is cool. I like that. They're just very hard to use with different packs for some reason. I don't know, I find it very hard to use them together. But sometimes you have the same problem with plants from the same pack. For example, it's not a pack, it's base game, but sometimes I'd like to use a specific plant, but I can't because the shades of green don't match, which is sometimes a bit annoying. So the landscaping here was a lot of fun. It felt easy, which is not always the case, because with like more overgrown builds like this one, I don't have to care too much about where your Sims can walk, because this is basically a forest. And it also doesn't matter if it's symmetrical, it just has to look right. So a lot of the plants here are also from base game. I also used some of the fences and these very nice looking mossy rocks here, and also these stone slabs here to create this little path here to the cabin or hut or whatever you want to call it. So the exterior and landscaping didn't take too much time, as you guys can see. I also didn't use too much terrain paint here because we have this very big pond here, which takes up the majority of the lot. Basically it's only a 20 by 20, so it's very small, but I think it's the right size for this type of build here. And at this point I started furnishing the interior here, so I was basically just figuring out where to put everything. We don't really have a layout here because at this point it's basically just one room. I added the bathroom later on because the house was so small and it felt a bit cramped, so I decided to add another huge window here, for which I used 4 smaller ones, as you guys can see, and this is the kitchen area. It's a bit of a shame that Werewolves doesn't include a kitchen, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it would have been nice if they had some appliances here, because I'm kind of sick of using this stove here and the fridge, because for the more rustic builds there is basically nothing else that fits. And I like it in general, but I don't like to use it all the time, and I think it's also kind of boring for you guys. And the fact that it only has 3 different swatches doesn't improve the situation here. We have the black one, which I think is the best one, but I wanted to use a different one here, so I decided to go for the more, I don't know, rusty looking one. I would say this one here is rusty. And then there's also a white one, which I think also looks very nice, but again, I don't want to use the same object over and over. This is also a problem I have with the swatches in general, because for the more basic colors like brown, black and white, for example, also gray, the shades simply don't match, so it looks off. Sometimes even with objects from the same pack, which is even more annoying. This makes it very hard to combine certain objects which would look very nice together, but the colors simply don't match, or at least the shades don't match. And as I said before, this is also a problem with base game objects, because one of my newer builds is base game and it was very hard to furnish it because I was going for a very clean look, all in white, very elegant, and it was very hard to find white objects that had kind of the same shade because they all looked a bit different. And this really bothers me because if I remember correctly, in Sims 3 we had a color wheel. Correct me if I'm wrong here in the comments below, but I think you could choose basically any color you wanted. It even worked with different patterns. It's been a while since I played Sims 3, but I occasionally think about the color wheel option, and I'm not sure we don't have it in Sims 4 because this game is already 10 years old and it feels like such a basic feature which should have been there from the start. And I think the problem now is that we have so many objects from so many different packs that it would probably be a lot of work to include this option for every pack, which arises the question, why wasn't it there from the start? So I'm a bit annoyed, to be honest. It's not so much of a problem for builds like this one here, which are more rustic looking, so it kind of makes sense that there are different shades of brown and different types of wood included, which I like for this build. But it's kind of frustrating if you want a more uniform look, where the shade should always be the same and you want to use, for example, a certain stove or a certain fridge and it just doesn't fit the overall shade of white or black or whatever you're going for. So color wheel would be a nice addition in my opinion, but I'm pretty sure they will never include that in the game. So most importantly, because it's a lot of work, but I also feel like the developers don't really care because the game is selling anyway. So I haven't really looked into it, but I'm pretty sure there are mods out there that allow you to change the color of objects, not necessarily like a color wheel, but something similar. But I don't really want to use these because I upload my builds to the gallery, as you guys know, which is also the reason why I don't use custom content, because if you guys don't have the objects, they will get deleted or replaced by something from base game, for example. And I think the same problem applies with adding new colors and patterns, because if you don't have them, they will get removed or replaced. Again, let me know in the comments below what you think about this. Rant is over now because we're almost at the end of the video. So as I said before, you guys voted for this build to be the next upload, and I wanted to ask you guys if you want to do this more frequently, because this kind of helps me to upload more consistently, because I have to commit to finishing a build, which is not always easy for me, because this week I worked on I think 5 different builds which are all almost finished. And the reason for that is I start building because I have an idea or because I want to finish a build, but then I encounter some problems and then I stop building and work on a different build. And this is the reason why some of the builds never get finished. I recently started this series called Unfinished Builds. I'm not sure if you guys have seen any of the videos yet, but I wanted to share these builds in their unfinished state because some of them might never get finished, and one of you guys suggested to upload them as shorts, which was a great idea because I think there's not enough content for a whole video. But this way I can at least show you guys the build even if it never gets finished. If you have any requests for specific builds, please feel free to leave them in the comments below and I will take them into consideration. And with that, we're at the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave a like and consider subscribing for more if you're new to the channel. So as I said before, the build is in the gallery, and if you want to download it, my ID is in the description below as always. I also put the lot there if you want to place it on the same one as I did here. Again, thank you so much for watching, and now here's the finished build. See you guys next time. Peace out. Hey, what's up everyone? Happy Halloween! Today we're building a spooky Halloween party barn, which you can download and use in your game if you want to. I know I'm late as always because Halloween is almost over, but I wanted to upload this for you guys to use at least today. I actually started building this last year, and then I kind of forgot about it until recently, and I thought I have to upload this year because otherwise I'll probably forget about it again. So here it is. So this build is intended as a community lot, so you can place it somewhere in your world and your sims can use it to have a party here. You can also use it for non-Halloween themed parties, of course. And one thing I noticed after building this, the whole thing here is a freaking fire hazard. We have the haystacks here, we have the dry leaves here, and I placed so many candles for looks and ambience. So in real life, this would probably be pretty dangerous. So this time I even closed the whole thing up, so it's an actual building, not just a dollhouse build like my usual videos, because I wanted to upload this as a short, but it was too long. But I didn't want to cut out anything because this time I had also some exterior to show you guys. I initially planned on uploading a long video for Halloween, but I couldn't finish the video editing. The house is basically finished, but I wanted to play test it first. Fortunately, the house is not only suitable for Halloween, but also for regular gameplay, because I built the tiny goth house, which is spooky, but I would say it's not exclusively Halloween themed. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. Happy Halloween. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Also leave a like if you enjoyed today's video and want to see more builds like this one. See you next time. Peace out. So those of you who watch my videos more frequently are probably aware that I prefer building on smaller lots. And today we're going to build on the smallest lot in the game, which is actually one of the secret lots. And to access it, we have to go through this tree here. And if you want to check it out yourself, you can basically follow what I'm doing here. So first you want to view the tree a few times before you get the option to water it. And there will be more and more options available. Next we're going to water it even though it's raining. And now we can talk to the tree. No welcome wagon, thank you. I'm not sure what happened here, but once the entrance is open, you can click on it and explore the tree. This is actually some kind of very easy riddle because you have only two answers. There is a wrong choice every time. First you want to follow the sound, then follow downstream, then you want to enter the mist. And then we're gonna travel to Glade because we don't want to get back here to Willow Creek. This is the secret lot, it's called Sylvan Glade. I've never been here before today, I think. As you can see, you can't build here at the moment, but there's a cheat you can use to edit all lots. So we're gonna type in bb enable free build, and this should allow us to build here. It's only 15 by 10, so it's very small. A lot. You can actually not change the lot type, so I'm not sure what I want to build here, but I think we should go for some type of house, I guess. So we're gonna get rid of the pond first. Apparently there are no different times of day here. I'm just gonna put a box here for now. Why is it so purple? Is everything purple here? Inside it's fine. I'm not sure what this here is, but oh, it's a fish. It's still here because we removed the pond. It should be gone. Okay, it's gone. Okay. So today we're gonna do this differently. We're gonna do the floor plan first. Okay, this is gonna be a small cottage, so we probably won't have more than 2 rooms, maybe a separate bedroom. So we'll have the main living area here with the kitchen and the bathroom. I think I want this to be on a hill, so maybe we should do the hill first. So we're not gonna do a symmetrical house. I think I want to have some kind of patio area somewhere around here. Should this be a 2-story building? I don't think this should be a 2-story building. Maybe we can add a small kind of tower here. Let's do a 3x3. We're gonna use a ladder here because there's no place for a staircase. It's gonna be the bedroom. We're gonna build this for just 1 sim, so no double bed in here. So this is actually a bit bigger than I wanted it to be, but we're gonna roll with it for now. Okay, don't work on the exterior. We need to do the floor plan first. We're gonna do bedroom here, the kitchen area, living room, and we're gonna add a small bathroom here. Alright. Layout done. You know what? I'm actually not sure if I can see any colors here because it's so pinkish. Should we get a different type of roof? I kind of like it. I think that's what we're going for. We're gonna make this a bit more curved as well. I hope this roof here doesn't clip. It isn't, but this one here is. I think that's fine. Yeah, we're gonna keep it like that because I like how it looks from the outside. I'm pretty satisfied with that actually. I want a small porch area here. So we're gonna add a platform here. So I'm not sure about the material I want to go for, but I think it should be partially brick or stone. Maybe stone is better. Maybe I just concede, but are there no wooden roofs in this game? I think we're gonna go with the shingles here. I swear I can't tell what color this is supposed to be. I think we should use this trim here. Yeah, I don't like how this here looks, but we're gonna keep it for now. Let's decide on a wall pattern. Maybe we should use one of the get together wall patterns. Try this. I think that's quite nice. We can work with that. So one simple trick when you're building, use columns for every build, everywhere. They add detail, they make the house look better in my opinion. I wanted to use the one from Werewolf, and it appears that the wood is kind of similar. I think this should be a wooden deck. I can't see what color this is supposed to be. I don't think it matches very well, but for now we just keep it. We need a door neck, maybe go with this one here. I'm not sure if it fits because we have the columns here. Maybe we should remove them for now. Yeah, I like the door, but now same problem. We don't know what color it is. This is supposed to be green. I can't see the green. Maybe I have to go inside and check. So dark, we're gonna need some lights in here. I'm not sure if we should use the green door. Okay, maybe I should check everything inside first so I can see what it looks. I think we should use windows from the same expansion as the door, and this one here is probably, yeah, it's cottage living. Or maybe we use these green windows here. I kind of like them. It doesn't really match. Is there a different swatch for it? There's a similar one which is a bit smaller. Matching green swatch, perfect. Maybe we could do some kind of custom double window. I think this could work if we can center it. Okay, I like it. I like it. Let's change it to green. It's not green, it's gray. But it kind of looks alright, so we're gonna keep it. We need more windows. Not too sure about the green anymore. Maybe we should go for a different color. Should we just have white windows? I don't like how it looks in the light here. I don't like that the roof is going through the window here, so we kind of remove the window. I think we need a door here. I just want the same color. Maybe just add the same door here. Okay, we're gonna need some roof decoration. Okay, we're gonna change the color to, I don't know, I can't see anything here. Maybe just keep the black one. Doesn't match very well, so we go with green, I suppose. Okay, we're gonna add a chimney now. Maybe we should try to figure out where it's gonna be inside. I think the chimney should be here. Yeah, it should be here. We're gonna put it here, so we're gonna get rid of, no, we're gonna put it here, so we're gonna get rid of this one. No, I don't like it. Oh no. So I think for now we should work on the interior because I can't really do anything outside since I don't know how this stuff looks. So we're gonna make this match here, and then I think we're gonna make the outside match the inside. And this way, big brain move, we should have something that looks good in a different lighting as well. I want a fireplace, but all those fireplaces here don't really match, so I'm not sure which one I'm gonna use. I need a very light one, as you can see. I need one that matches the wall. I think this one here is probably the best, but it's a bit too big, so we're gonna size it down. I'm now sure that I don't like this flooring here. Maybe we should make everything darker so we can use more of the dark wood tones. I like this flooring here, but I'm not sure if there is any swatch that matches. No, doesn't look good. We're gonna use this one here and make everything else match. Yeah, I think we can start furnishing. We have the same problem as always. This door is in the way, this window is in the way. I'm not sure where to put the kitchen area, to be honest. I want to have it here. I think we're gonna have the dining area just here. Let's see if we have a nice table. I feel like we're gonna use a lot of werewolf stuff in here as well. Okay, let's go for the essentials first. We need a kitchen. Okay, we need some old-fashioned counters. I like these here. I don't use them very often, but they're quite nice. I think we have to remove this door here because I kind of like where the kitchen is now. And then we have a dining area here, living room here, and this is the bathroom, so we're gonna need a door. Kind of matches. We need a darker one. I think we're going to keep this door here. We're going to get rid of the windows. I like how they look, but I don't like the color. I think we should use a different one from Cottage Living. I would prefer a wooden frame. We have a dark brown swatch here. We do. I'm not sure what to put here. Maybe this one. This one kind of works. We're going to keep it. And we're going to put our dining area here. We need a small table. I want to have a flower pattern. Let's keep it neutral for now. Should we use chairs that come with Cottage Living? I really like this one here. Does it actually fit here? Maybe we're gonna use it later on. There is a different one. It's kind of straw padded. This is the chair I was looking for. We're gonna keep this very dark. So since we're getting rid of all the green elements here, I think we should get rid of the door as well. I think we're gonna use this one here. Okay, I forgot that we need a way to get up here. Where can we put it? This is awful. Okay, here. That's a good spot, I think. You can have some decoration here. I want to have a more rustic bed, so we're gonna use maybe one from Cottage Living or maybe the Werewolf's bed. I think it's a bit too shabby looking. I kind of like this one here. I'm not sure about the color, so let's put some light in here. I think this kind of works. Okay, I think this is the color scheme we're going for. Lots of dark browns, and we're gonna break it up a bit by adding lots and lots of plants and flowers outside and inside. I think I want to furnish the bathroom next, so we don't have a lot of space. I don't want to put a shower in here, but I think we can't really have a bathtub in here. I'm not sure what my mouse is currently doing. I think I like this bathtub here, but we don't really have space for a toilet. It's actually bothering me a bit. We don't have space for a sink here. Should we do a separate room for the toilet? We could add a small room like this here. I think this could work. We could put a couch here. Not sure about this. I think we need a lot. I'm not sure if this fits in here. Let's see if there is a swatch that actually matches everything else. I kind of like this one here. Okay, we need a toilet. I think we just go with this one here because it kind of matches. Let's see if we can make it a bit darker. Perfect. We're gonna keep the toilet here in a separate room. This way we can have a sink in here. There should be a sink from Cottage Living, right? I feel like we need a rug here. I feel like I'm gonna use the one from Werewolves, the shabby looking one. I think they should have a more neutral swatch. I'm not sure which color to pick here. Let's finish the kitchen first. Okay, we need a sink. I think we're gonna use this one. I think this matches quite well. What else do we need here? This feels kind of empty. I think we should go for a larger dining table. Okay, we're gonna go with this one here. We need more chairs here. And I think we're gonna have to move this a bit for the fridge to be functional. Also gonna need an exhaustion hood. I think there are not that many great exhaustion hoods. There are some modern ones. This one here is good, but not for this build here, and it also has no swatches. Okay, maybe use this one here, or we use this, and then we need some cabinets. Maybe we're gonna use the ones here from, what is it called? Country Kitchen Charm? Country Kitchen whatever. Okay, there's no shade of brown, so we're gonna go with white. I think this could look good if we put it on top. I wish this was brown, the same shade of brown as the rest here. See if it works. Looks alright. Okay, if we put this right here, we can still put some decorations on the fridge. I'm not sure if I like how this looks. Okay, I think I like how this looks. I'm not too sure about the rug. In my opinion, there are not that many great rugs in this game. I like using this one here. It looks a bit more realistic in my opinion. Okay, as you can see, I connected the porch with the patio area. Also, we got rid of the steel foundation because I think this will look better with all the plants around. I also had a small pond here. I think we're gonna need some stairs to access the house. I'm not sure if I want to go with brick or stone. I think we should try wood first. This matches quite well. Okay, I can move this over here, so I think we have to shape off a little bit of the hill. This seems to work. And let's add some fences and some railing. We're gonna use the fence from Cottage Living here. We're gonna change the wall pattern here. We're gonna add this broken stone wall here. This is a debug object. I like that you can place them at the border of the lot, which you can do with fences. I wish we could move the whole build to the back, but there is no space left because the fence is really close to the stairs. I think I want to add a tree next. And we rotate it so it won't clip. It's not clipping. Perfect. We're gonna keep it here. Okay, let's add some flowers. I'm gonna add some dirt here because I want to have some flower beds here. We're gonna use these planks here as a frame. We want to add some mushrooms as well. I have no idea if these flowers are actually matching, but they do here. Let's add more moss. As you guys know, I really like landscaping. I think we should add some flowers to the wall as well because this one is a bit bare. We can place a window here, trying to cover the foundation as well. Maybe we should weave in some ivy as well. Okay, let's add a toilet window. I think I might want this still foundation back. Okay, let's add plants. I want this to be completely overgrown. I think I want these hatches on the back side here. I think I want to add some planter boxes here. I'm not sure if there should be plants on the roof as well. Additional details. Maybe we could add a small awning here. I'm not sure if this is the same color as the trim. Let's add some lights. Okay, let's add some terrain paint, but we gotta be careful here to make this look natural. I think we need more shrubs and flowers. I need to blend this in. So we're gonna add a lot of plants here. I think that should be enough bushes around here. Let's add some more flowers. We have to clutter these wall racks here. Don't forget to add a trash can. Where are all the books? Some blankets in a basket. We also add some canisters. Also gonna need the red shelf to put stuff on the fridge. I think I have all the objects I want to use here. Why is this floating? Let's add some wall decorations here. This is kind of empty. We need curtains. Back outside, adding some tools right here. Okay, I want to add this here. I want to put plants on top of this. I'm not sure if we should add more. Kind of empty here. Maybe rotate it. Is that better? You want to keep it like this? I can't find anything that fits here. I want to go with portraits, but I don't know. I think I found the right one. This one here could work. Not a big fan of the frames here. Let's do the kitchen first. We can't put anything up here because it's almost at ceiling level. I think the kitchen is almost finished here. I want to put one more plant here. Need a small one. I think this is my favorite plant from base game, so we're gonna put it here. I was looking for fireplace tools, but I can't find them. Oh, got them. I'm pretty sure there's a matching firewood rack, but I can't find it. We gotta make our own. We're gonna use firewood here. It's good enough. Okay, let's add a pergola here. Not sure about the color. Maybe turn it around. Okay, I don't like the curtains here. I think we're just gonna add more lights and then we're basically done. I think there should be some entertainment here. Should use this gramophone here. I think this works. You gotta keep it simple. More plants. Plants everywhere. Okay, I think that should be enough plants. I think we're done here. Okay, now the moment we all have been waiting for. Okay. It's not too bad. I like it. I think it works. I'm gonna put this on the gallery if you guys want to download it. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, leave a like and consider subscribing if you want to see more. See you guys next time. Peace out. What's up everyone, welcome back to another Sims 4 video on my channel. So today we're building a small werewolf themed watermill here in Moonwood Mill, which is the new world that comes with the Werewolf's gameplay pack. I also thought this video would be a good opportunity to talk about the new pack itself, because I had some time to look at the new objects while building this. But before I do that, let me tell you a bit more about this particular build here. So the idea behind this is that this small abandoned watermill here is basically the hideout of one or more werewolves. So I built this on the smallest available lot in Moonwood Mill, which is a 20 by 15 lot, but I thought it's sufficient space for a small watermill like this. But the main problem here is, as you can see, there is no real river here, just because we don't have rivers in Sims yet, at least without mods. But I just thought maybe it has dried out and formed this kind of pond here. So this build uses two different packs, which is Cottage Living and of course the Werewolves expansion. This time I tried to limit the packs to a minimum, which was possible in my opinion, because both packs offer sufficient items for this particular kind of build here. So Cottage Living was not really necessary for most of this build, but for one particular item, which is the water wheel, because it's a debug object from Cottage Living, so you can't build a watermill without Cottage Living. If you're a very skilled builder, you could probably build a custom one with debug objects from base game or other expansions, but this is the easiest way, and in my opinion it just looks very good, so I wanted to use it when we have it. However, there is one thing that bothers me here with the water wheel, which is basically that it moves when you're not in build mode, which is a nice touch for newer builds, but this one here should look abandoned, and there is also no river that's flowing there, so it kind of doesn't really make a lot of sense here. So this build took me about 4 hours to complete, plus some additional 2 hours to do playtesting and make sure everything works. So if you want to download this, just make sure that you turn on all the cheats beforehand, just to be sure that everything works. So for this build I wanted to use as many objects as possible from the new gameplay pack. However, the wooden paneling you see here is from base game, and what's also kind of strange is that the bricks we get here are also in base game, but they also come with new gameplay pack for some reason. I mean, there's a minor difference between them. The one from base game has some additional kind of framing detail around the corners, but in terms of color and pattern, they're basically the same, which is kind of lazy in my opinion, because we only get, I think, 3 new wall patterns, of which 2 are brick, which is kind of lazy in my opinion, because the other brick one is basically just a new version of a previously existing one from base game as well. The pack also comes with only 1 new floor pattern, which I think is alright for a gameplay pack, but I didn't use it here. It's a nice pattern actually, but I couldn't find any use in this particular build here. So at this point I was pretty satisfied with the overall shape and look of the house, also the color scheme, but I had to figure out how to connect it to the other side of the ditch here, which I didn't consider beforehand. So the problem here was that I built the mill diagonally, which is always a hassle when you want to use stairs or ladders, because you can only rotate them by 90 degrees and not place them diagonally as well. But as you can see here, I found the solution and I actually like how this looks now. But you will see that later on with the interior, when I had to place a staircase or a ladder to get to the second floor, it was really problematic. So at this point I was also pretty happy that I found a use for this water pattern here, which is from base game. I like the look of it, but you can't really use it for bigger ponds or lakes because it just doesn't look good, but I think it's very fitting here. But again, I don't like that the water wheel here is moving when you're playing with this, just because in my opinion the water wouldn't be that mossy if the wheel would actually move. So at this point the exterior of the house was basically finished, and I started landscaping by placing down some large trees here and some other key objects that I wanted to use. Of course, I added some additional details to the house later on. There are some very nice wall patterns in the new gameplay pack, which you will see later on. So concerning the roof of this build, I wasn't so sure at first if I like this pattern here. So the new gameplay pack comes with 3 patterns, of which 2 are actually sheet metal and 1 is this mossy shingle roof here, which has also some nice swatches to it, but I wasn't too sure at first if I actually like the roof, just because I feel like the texture is a bit too flat. But while building this, it kind of grew on me, so I think it has its place in the game, and I also think it looks quite nice on this particular build here. So from a building perspective, I have to say that this pack offers a lot of nice and usable objects, but for me it's not really what I would associate with werewolves. So personally I hoped for objects that are inspired by like 19th century Britain, or maybe German Black Forest architecture, because I think this is more werewolf-like and would fit the overall pack a bit better. This is just my personal opinion, but I also think the new world is kind of boring and generic looking. I also don't get why everything looks so rundown there and there are no normal buildings. It's like werewolves are just completely destroying everything here, but they turn back into humans for most of the time, so this doesn't really make sense for me. And again, this is just my personal opinion. I also haven't done any gameplay in Moonwood Mills, so I'm not sure what you can do there, except from what I've read and seen in reviews by other people. But as I said, there are certain objects that I really like. For example, the windows here, the door is just amazing. I like the telescope that comes with this pack. But for me personally, the best part about this pack is the debug, because there are so many nice debug objects in this pack that I see myself using a lot in the future. Especially the trees and the plants are very nice. I think we get like 4 or 5 different trees, and some plants that are very unique. It kind of remind me of some plants that come with Snowy Escape and also Island Living, but I think they're a nice addition to the game. There's also one debug object that kind of looks like a patch of moss, and I especially like this one just because we can add some extra detail to the ground, which is not that easy even with terrain paint. The pack also comes with a lot of new trash objects that I also like a lot. For example, different types of tires or destroyed wooden fences like we had in base game. They're not only debug objects, they also come as kind of furniture because we have a stool made of old tires, for example, which I didn't use in this build, but I kind of like it. But I'm gonna talk about the interior and the furniture objects later on when I'm moving on to the interior. So at this point I was pretty satisfied with how the exterior looked. I did some additional landscaping later on, but at this point I decided to move on and do a little work on the interior. So as I said before, I built this in about 4 hours, and that's because I took some time looking at the new objects just to see what we have here, because I didn't take a look at them beforehand. So the pack also comes with these new curtains. They're called tarps, and they're actually tarps. I'm not really sure about them. When I first saw them, I thought, yeah, they're a nice object. I think I'm gonna like them, but the more I try to use them, the less I like them. I think the swatches are also not that nice. I don't know, maybe it's the lighting on these very dark lots here in Moonwood Mill, but I'm just not a huge fan of the tarp curtains here. I really do like the couch here. It's a very nice object, and also the bookshelf. I see myself using those objects a lot in the future. However, as you can see, I used the bat from Eco Lifestyle, which is not a normal bat, it's a recycled one. So you have to cheat this bat to get it. And on the gallery it says it doesn't use any objects from Eco Lifestyle. So I just wanted to give you a heads up. If you plan on downloading this, it needs Eco Lifestyle, or it will probably delete the bat in your game at least. So just make sure that you have Eco Lifestyle or just use a different bat. And that brings me to the next aspect of this gameplay pack I wanted to talk about. So this pack comes with 3 different bats. One is a toddler bat, one is a regular one, and the last one is a bunk bat. Well, strictly speaking, there is a 4th one, which is a bush, which also came with this pack, so your Sims can also sleep in this bush. So the main problem here for me is that we didn't get a double bat, which would have been nice. And generally speaking, the bats are fine. I just don't think they're very fitting for the style that we're going for, because everything is so rundown and demolished, and the bats don't really fit this style in my opinion. I mean, they don't look like new bats, but they also don't look like they were torn apart. And I think a nice addition to the game would have been, instead of a normal bat, maybe just some blankets on the floor, or some kind of a mattress that's just lying on the floor, which would be a bit more fitting in my opinion for the general style they were going for with this pack. So this is also the reason why I used the recycled bat from Cottage Living, just because in my opinion it's the kind of bat we should have gotten. It's not exactly like I wanted it to be, but I think it's the best solution here for this particular build. So at this point I wanted to ask you guys, what do you think about this pack? Let me know in the comments below as always. So as this build is actually an old watermill, I wanted to make it as realistic as possible, and the new pack also comes with a nice set of gears, a pile of destroyed gears to be more specific, and I use them in combination with a different wheel. I think it's tractor wheel or something like that from Cottage Living, to kind of indicate the destroyed mechanism of the watermill that has been here before, just to make it a bit more realistic and add some additional detail to the build. So the upstairs is basically the bedroom and the bathroom, as you can see here. However, the bathroom is very small. As you can see, but it is also fully functional, so I play tested it like most of my builds, and you shouldn't have any issues if you want to play with this. So as I said, I tried to make this playable, but one thing that was really nice while building was that I didn't have to pay too much attention to making this house look like a normal house, because first of all, this is an old watermill, and secondly, it's also a werewolf lair. So basically this house doesn't have to look normal. So one thing that I feel like is very helpful for furnishing houses or also building full houses is to try to imagine who lived here or who lives here and how all the things came together. So in this particular case, I feel like this mill was abandoned by the family living here a long time ago, and most of the furniture here are leftovers from the miller who lived here prior to the werewolves who moved in later on, maybe after years. So this is probably one of the best parts about the new gameplay pack. It comes with a lot of very nice new wall art. I think it's considered wall art, but basically it's a lot of different cracks and old wallpaper that's falling off the walls, and there are basically two different versions of this. One is for walls and the other one is floor destruction. So the swatches here are basically not colors, but rather different kinds of destructions. For example, those claw marks you see here on the walls, there are different ones for like stone or wood or also wallpaper, so they kind of fit different surfaces as well. But there are also, as I said, cracks, for example, included for your brick walls. However, it's a bit disappointing that there are only two different ones for brick walls and only, I think, two different ones for wallpapers. But overall, a very nice addition to the tools we have for making things a bit more destroyed or abandoned looking. There's also one swatch that kind of looks like mold, which I also used in this build, which I've never seen before in The Sims. We have some kind of water stains, which are also very nice, but the mold is a bit different. Again, I'm a bit disappointed that there's only one variation of the mold, but I'm glad that we have this one because even though it's just one variation, it's very useful in my opinion. So this is now fully functional, as I said before, but it wasn't at first because I didn't add a fridge and also no counter space, just because I was more concerned with the looks rather than functionality. But then I decided that this should also be functional, of course, so I added a fridge later on and also some counter space so your Sims can actually cook here. At first I was going for off-the-grid lifestyle because I used, I think, only off-the-grid furniture here, so you can totally play off-the-grid if you want to, and I thought it would be possible to like buy or gather ingredients for cooking, but apparently you need a fridge, so I had to add one to make this actually usable. So I'm not too familiar with playing off the grid, but let me know in the comments if there's any way of like scavenging food or finding food somewhere so you can cook without a fridge. I also added some additional counter space when I finished recording because I basically forgot about adding counter space, which is weird. But now there is some for cooking purposes, so the last thing missing was basically just a sink, which I also added later on. So at this point the house was basically finished. I just added some additional decorations and also some more debug objects also as decorations to make it look a bit more inhabited. So in case you're wondering why I didn't use the red shelf for this build, the new gameplay pack basically was buggy as hell, so the world wouldn't load with any mods enabled, so no mods could be used. But to be honest, I didn't really need them anyway, so it didn't bother me too much. It was just a bit annoying to restart the game every time when you disable or enable the mods, so That was the only issue I had with the new expansion. I don't know if you encountered any problems, but let me know in the comments below if you did. So at this point I didn't realize that I had covered up the whole ladder area, so there was basically no way your Sims could reach the second floor, which I also fixed later on. But I was just too focused on building this rabbit cage slash food storage here that I didn't consider the ladder anymore. So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, please leave a like and consider subscribing if you're new to the channel. It helps me out a lot. See you guys next time. Peace out.